Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the Select Board meeting on Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. The time is 6:02. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball. All right. Thank you very much. Citizens input, I got nothing. Nothing over there, nothing up there, okay. Next, we'll go with the town administrator.
Actually, I'll yield to Trish.
You wanna let Trish go first?
So just to keep us legal, a couple of meetings ago, Jim, Mr. O'Mara and I talked about the twin culvert grant that we were approved for by the DOT. And one of the things that they stipulate is I have to have a certificate of authority. And they define that as meeting minutes that identify the Board of Selectmen has authorized the town administrator to sign all contracts and agreements. So although we talked about it at a meeting, we didn't make it official so that I can have minutes to give them.
Sure.
So I would love it if somebody could make a motion for that.
It says all.
It says, meeting minutes to identify the Board of Selectmen authorize the town administrator to sign all contracts and agreements for the DOT.
Okay.
So
I was
there-
gonna say, because that's, all is a blanket, so we kinda gotta say like for the DOT.
Yes.
Okay. Do you guys have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to allow our town administrator to sign DOT.
All
all
DOT
documents
documents.
for the, on behalf of the town of Newton.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Bob. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Okay. I have given Robin, so the first agreement that they're looking to have signed, it's called the State Bridge Aid and Federal Aid Programs Project Agreement for the town of Newton. It's given us a state project ID. I filled in our unique ID. The project name is Wildest Grove Bridge over Country Pond. Robin has all the documents. They specified, please leave the date, just so that you know when you look at this, please leave the date blank on the first page of this agreement. They will fill that in once it's signed by the town administrator and we send it along. So that is our first step for this. And then Jim and I do have my certification. They emailed me my training certificate. And Jim and I will have to sit down so that then you can be briefed on the next steps. We have to go out for bid eventually, but there's a checklist that they've given us to follow, so I'll fill you in with that. Am I still up for other things?
Did they certify Jim too?
He's certifiable, normally.
yeah.
Oh, I know that, but
Yes, so Jim will eventually get it. We had technical issues when he and I were
Right, yeah.
taking it, so he will get it, but right now at least I have the certificate.
Okay.
So that we can at least file the paperwork.
so we have one person with certified.
Right, right. And do I come back later, or can I do a couple
You
other
do
things?
it right now.
Do it right now.
Let's just do it.
Okay, so a couple of things. Finally, Mike Pavero and I have finished our disaster reimbursement. It's not a grant, it's a reimbursement from July of 2023. So not this year or last year, because heaven forbid they do things in a timely fashion. So we have finally finished. I actually sent it out today. We'll sit down, or I will at least sit down with them next week. FEMA will come back to go over things. What we put in for so far was $71,507.40. We probably are only gonna get 75% of that, which is $53,630.55, which I'll take every day of the week. So once that comes in, so that's one storm out of the way. Now we're doing the April of 2024 storm. It won't be this much money because we didn't have a lot of road damage. The other one, we did have road, shoulder erosion, we had some
Right.
issues. This is really debris. We did get a price, so that you know, that's included in this estimate that we sent for the burn pile at the transfer station to be completely chipped. So that is included in this, so that's one thing you won't have to worry about shortly.
Sure.
So that's that. The other thing is I completed 2 quarterly reports for Seabrook. So we will be getting, it's only $4,250, but it's Seabrook money. And I'm keeping track of when that's showing up so I can let whoever the powers to be at the time, but we'll keep track of that. So that's for Seabrook. And lastly, so you probably know, every time we talked about ARPA, the US Treasury says I have, or we, the town, has until December 31st of this year to completely account for the $515,900 grant that we got. And if we haven't spent it all, we have to account for it, target it for something by the end of this year, but we don't have to spend it all until December 31st of 2026. Thank goodness I did my own spreadsheet all this time because of our rotating door in one of the offices here. So I have matched up your minutes, which, thank you for being so transparent. Every one of your meetings where you said ARPA funds, blah, 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 in your manifest approvals. So I was able to match that with the last 3 years of all our invoices. And it brought me to a not spent of $12,293 and change. So the ARPA committee is gonna be having a meeting at 9 o'clock on Thursday morning. We have to target it, you know, so that we can say we're gonna spend it, or by the end of this year, we have to say we can't spend it, so we're gonna give it back to the state, which clearly we don't wanna do.
Clearly, we are not going to do that.
We are not gonna do that. So I did talk to Mary Jo, who talked to the town clerk in Kingston. It seems that with their ARPA money, she was able to get a machine that folds and stuffs the envelopes, like for taxes and registrations. So Mary Jo got me all the information today. The ARPA committee will discuss it on Thursday morning. It's only like $4,000. She thought it was $6,000. It's only $4,000. However, the balance can be used for a variety of things. We can shoot an email out to other places that should be for life safety, or items that the town hall needs. One of the things that was on our list, for those of you that were in the ARPA meetings, was we were going to use part of that money to take down the trees at Granny Park. So the thought process might be the balance should be used to finish what we were going to do at Granny Park. And then we have till 2026 to do it. If you, because it'll come before you to vote on it, which will have to be at your next meeting. If you've got any other things that you think the ARPA committee should think about on Thursday morning at 9, maybe shoot me a text or come to the meeting. It's obviously a public meeting at the fire station.
I would like to see that go, because we talked in depth about that with Greenie Park.
Okay.
Taking care of those trees, that would
Yeah.
help alleviate some of that parking issues that the residents are having along there.
Right.
When they have all the ball games going on.
Sure.
So I'd like to try to help get them some relief over in that neighborhood by trying to expand
Okay.
that parking. So if we could do that, that would be wonderful.
What about
Joe?
ballot machines?
What about ballot machines?
Yeah, is that something that would fit the guidelines?
I don't know the cost. I'll ask Mary Jo or Bob Dismelik.
Excuse me, I believe that Mary Jo's waiting for, to hear from the state, Secretary of State's office,
Yeah, New Hampshire hasn't chosen their new machine yet.
the vendor.
Yes.
But if it happens before December 31st, knowing we don't have an appropriation for this mandate by the state, we could use the contingency fund to buy those in this fiscal year, or at least create the obligation, allow us to encumber money
Correct.
into
Oh, that's good.
2025.
Correct.
Yeah, good idea.
MJ's aware of it, so she's on the fast track for that.
Okay.
Between taking money and hand over fist.
Exactly,
Right.
right.
And
Right.
there is dare I say, a partial rebate that the state pays a little bit of money towards, or we get reimbursed when we buy the new ballot machines.
Oh, for the old ones.
For the old
yeah,
ones, yeah.
The buyback.
It would come in the form of a credit.
Right.
Right.
Okay. That's it for me.
Thank you, Trish.
Okay.
Appreciate all your hard work there.
Yeah, I don't even understand why they still haven't done it. Drives me insane.
Yeah, I think it was, what, 25%, I think, or something like that?
I don't know, it depends on what you're turning in. There's
Right.
different prices for different machines.
Something's better than nothing.
Do it. We should. I've been talking about this for months.
Mr. Chairman, would you like to take the podium from there and just comment on Trish's observation? We all know that FEMA money is almost no good to us because
Oh, you want me to-
we never get it in the year that we can spend it. It always comes the following year.
Do you want me to go up there and do it?
No, do it right there. I think it's a fabulous idea.
Okay. So this year we have, I've called a couple towns and talked to them and figured out how we're gonna be able to utilize the FEMA money that we get that's a year and a half, 2 years late. So normally what happens is these disasters happen and the money that we spend to fix them or to mitigate them comes from our police budget line, our highway budget line, or our fire department budget line, whatever, any of those 3 lines. So there is a way that other towns have done this, and they establish a fund. I'm not sure if it's a revolving account or a fund. It's established, and it's titled a certain way for disaster, so that when the FEMA money comes in, it gets deposited into that account, and then when the disaster happens, the money can be spent from that account instead of from the lines that we have already established for other things. And then, so like the first year kind of stinks when you set it up because it's only gonna have $100 in there. But once it's set up and it builds like this, you know, Trish just said, $53,000 probably she's gonna get, but it's 2 years late. So normally that would just go in the general fund, we can't really spend it, and then at the end of the year it would go into the unassigned fund balance. And now we're gonna be able to establish this account and the money will be able to be deposited in there. Once it gets built up, we'll be able to use that money for when these disasters happen instead of it hitting our lines on our already established lines.
Isn't that a good idea?
That's the plan. You guys will hear more about it when we get to warrant articles, but that's the plan. So we don't run into this anymore. It's not even gonna be, once this is set up and established, it will not even be a big deal anymore. You know, unless something catastrophic happens, and just like, but, so yeah, it is a good thing. So hopefully
Very
we
good
can
idea.
get it to move forward. Thank you.
I think I'm gonna run that by town council. Maybe he'll help us with some wording,
Yeah, sure.
and I do have that there. Okay. Thank you. So at your meeting on 11/19/24, you authorized $3,650 to be paid to Country Pond Lake Association to assist with the building of a boat ramp. There was no source of where those monies were coming from, and Robin identified that we should probably have a place to take it from. In looking over all the budgets that we have, the Recreation Department is the most logical place to look for these monies because it's the beach. However, we don't have a line for what we want to accomplish, but you do have a line in the rec budget called other expenses. It has $100 and 0 has been spent out of it. I thought if we transferred that money from beach salaries into other expenses and then expensed it from that account, it's so starkly different from the historical budgeting and spending in the other expense line that would know what it was for, and 10 years from now, we'd say, oh, that's the money that we gave to the Country Pond folks to build a boat ramp. So I have a couple of suggested motions that you make, one to move the money over, and then go back to the original motion of paying it out of the recreation operating budget, the line called other expenses. But I hope that makes sense to you.
It does.
So, only one thing on that other expense line, that was the line that we were gonna change to be beach expenses. In the proposed
2025.
Yeah.
Right, this will be one and done, Joe,
Okay.
a one-off. So it's the most logical place, because it would stand out.
Okay.
And while you're speaking of that, This is the opportunity for any department head to create new lines that they believe they need in their budget that hopefully help us understand better what they actually do with their monies and not try and lump it all in one place, put it over there. Break it out, show us how you use it,
That will have
and create the
historical-
lines that you need that best describe what the money's gonna be used for. And despite information that might have been passed out earlier, I would encourage anybody to do that. And even if it's a one and done, put a buck in there the following year, because it's there if you need it.
Yep.
Good deal.
Okay. You guys
So,
want to make those motions?
I make a motion to transfer $3,650 from account number 45200-243, beach salaries, to account number 4520109, other expenses.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Bob. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
And additionally, now I move to amend the original motion from November 19th, 2024 to read as follows. I move that the town help subsidize Country Pond Lake Association boat ramp project in the amount of $3,650 to be expended out of the recreation operating budget, account number 4520243, other expenses.
Wrong line, Joe.
Excuse me?
It's 5420109.
Okay, number 4520243, other expenses.
No. It's a Robin thing, but this is the
Oh,
number.
okay, sorry, once again.
That's all right.
Number 4520109.
Second.
Motion made by Joe S., seconded by Joe A. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is 3 ayes and 1 abstention by me, because I don't think I was there for the original motion. It still passes, just so we're clear. Jim, can we skip to Caitlin?
Oh, sure. We have an invoice from Bell and Flynn via the road agent.
Not paving.
No, we want to skip to Caitlin, not over Caitlin.
Oh, I thought you said paving. Members of the board, Mr. Chairman, as you may recall, there was funding placed in the budget last year from a warrant article that the community passed. And we've been on a recruitment quest since March to get a person to come in as a part-time coordinator to start to build programs that service a broader spectrum of community members. We had 2 applicants, two very good applicants, but I'm going to recommend that we offer Caitlin Fauché the position, and I've crafted a motion that describes everything that we all need to know, how we're going to move forward. And this is Caitlin, by the way. Could you please stand? This is Caitlin. Welcome aboard.
So with that said, I'd like to make a motion. I move to hire Caitlin Fauscher as the town's first recreation coordinator at the hourly rate of $25, and further that Ms. Fauscher weekly work hours not exceed a total of 30 hours in any given week between the library and the town.
Second.
Motion made by Joe S., seconded by Joe A. All those in favor?
Aye.
That
Welcome
is
aboard.
unanimous, and welcome aboard.
Welcome.
And just so the people that are watching this, when they say, well, why did they say they split up the hours between the library and this? It's just because it's called, she's working under one umbrella, which is for the town, so it's keeping her as a part-time employee. If she was to exceed those hours combined, then she would become a full-time employee, which would require benefits.
Which is not the intention of the board when they crafted the warrant article.
Right.
Nor is it the intention now. However, hopefully in 3 years from now, we'll all be saying, let's make it a full-time position because we have so many programs and not enough people.
Working towards
There
that.
you
And I
go.
have every confidence Kate will take care of that for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, she can be excused, right?
She can be excused.
Thank you. I'll be in touch.
Thank you,
By the
Caitlin.
way, that'll be effective Monday, the 8th, I believe.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I'm excited. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Turn around and give a quick wave. There she is, the new rec leader.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Is she gonna come to any of the rec meetings? I should have asked, but
You should.
after.
Okay, that's done. Now you can go into paving if you'd like to. If
I'd
not, I can go to something else.
I'd
It's up
rather
to
go
you.
to the one before that.
Sure.
That would be food pantry.
Sounds like a fantastic idea.
This is the time of year where the generosity of our residents and businesses really show their colors. And Tina has shared with us that she's received gift cards. She's also received checks, but we're holding off on asking you to accept the checks till we can find out the historic route they've taken to get into what account and what the balance is. I discovered this 2 or 3 months ago, that there was an account established for the purpose of accepting monies, placing them in that fund, and to be expended as the needy needed it. But it didn't go to the standard way of approval. It didn't go to the board. It went from Tina, the department head, to the town administrator, to the treasurer, and then the check was cut. That's not a way to run a business.
No.
And I don't believe there was anything underhanded about it. I believe it was the most expedient way to get money to the needy as quickly as possible. So I'm gonna work on the balances, get that account, and basically just establish, with your permission obviously, that anything that gets expended out of those monies goes the same route as any other invoice that leaves this town.
Agreed.
And so
could it be a
in this case,
revolving- Could it be a revolving account within that department?
I don't know what it is right now.
We don't know where it is right now.
I'm told, because checks don't get cut to the needy, the deserving, they get cut to their obligation. So it would be a check to Unitel for electricity, or Liberty for gas, or it goes to the vendor, not the person. So,
Still needs to go like on a manifest.
yes,
Right.
right. And that's the name that would appear on the manifest. And for confidentiality purposes, research can always be done to get you the names of people who are receiving things. But in the interest of basically confidentiality, we'd like to keep it out of the public forum. So I'm happy to meet with Tina. We've developed a little bit of a relationship about documents, where they should reside, and we're grateful for what she and her husband does for the town. But that's one area involving checks coming from individuals or businesses that we don't want to accept just yet. However, you'll see that there are 2 other generous organizations, and we'd ask you to make a motion to accept these and authorize Tina to expend them in the manner that she deems fit.
So with that said, I'd like to make a motion to accept $500 in gift cards from the Kingston Lions Club and 2 $25 Hanford gift cards by the Boy Scout Troop 91 and 92 to be expended by the welfare agent Tina.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Joe. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have an invoice from Bell and Flynn. I believe it's a partial. It's in the amount of $40,326.70 for the wonderful work that was done around the police station. And we're asking that it come from the 8 Merrimack Road Capital Reserve Fund. And if I'm not mistaken, the current balance is $10,343 even. So that's not the current balance of that.
No, that can't be
The
right.
current balance was 50,000 something.
Hold on, I'll get you that balance. I believe the balance is 50,000. 1 second.
I believe that's what it is. It's somewhere around 50,000.
Yep.
$51,005.06.
So there's sufficient monies in that fund to cover it.
Yep.
So you'll have, instead of 2 separate motions, you'll have 1 motion rolled into, 2 motions rolled into 1.
I move to authorize a payment of invoice 10713 in the amount of $40,326.70 to Bell and Flynn Incorporated to be expended from the Engineering and Revolving 8 Merrimack Road Capital Reserve Fund account ending in 3583, and further to instruct the trustees of the trust fund to release the funds in accordance with this motion.
Second.
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor? Aye. That's unanimous.
And it's engineering and renovation
Where
at
is
8
that?
Merrimack Road. Just in case the public says anything.
So, Mr. O'Mara, if I can go back to the food pantry
Yes,
bank thing. So there is a food pantry bank account. So I have a couple questions, I guess, that I'm gonna depend on you to get to the bottom of.
do you have an account number with you?
Yeah, give me a second, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
4862. The last four,
4862?
4862. So, first of all, there's $43,000 in there, okay? Second of all, the way it's labeled, like we don't know the history of this account. But when I see food pantry account, I'm not thinking that that account is paying a Unitil bill. If it is, it should be renamed to something else. Welfare account, something to that effect, right? Not food pantry account, because when I see it, like we have $43,000 to fill that room that's already full. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I looked just at the history really quickly. Not a lot of money has changed within the last year.
Correct.
So it hasn't, like, I get it that they're holding checks. I understand that. But in the last year, not a lot of money has gone in or out of this account, which is fine. I guess we need to figure out what this account is being used for and what its intent was. So I guess we need to ask the town historian, or one of them, when it was established. We need to read that warrant article and get to the bottom. Go ahead. I know you have information on it, so I'll be
If it was a warrant article, if.
correct.
Right, and I can't remember if it was a warrant article, but a little bit of history is just exactly what Mr. Mara said, that sometimes if we have somebody in the need that either has no electricity or no heat, in some cases when we've had major emergencies, like during the ice storm, our welfare agent was actually use that money to put people up in, we've got certain hotels that they can go into, not, the Ritz, and to take care of them during issues like that, but that type of stuff was used from that account.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
That's helpful.
We should be able to get history from the bank. or what
So,
it checks
no,
out.
I can get history, it's just
But
how
we need
deep
to-
I wanna go, but,
We need to move that into one of our,
so, I guess my point is that, one, if that disaster, the ice storm happened today, I would be using the contingency fund to fund that stuff, not that account. Mainly because, again, the way it's labeled, I don't know what the parameters were when it was established, how money can be expended from it, whether it was right or not, right? And I'm all in favor of taking care of people, regardless. We'll make it happen, right? But yeah, like, so we definitely have to do some history stuff on it before we can do anything, right? And I guess the best way, if people are listening, saying I've deposited money there or whatever, gift cards are the best, I think. And like $25 to $50 gift cards to Market Basket if you don't wanna do actual food. Like, I don't know, I can see it, I'm not Tina, so I don't know, I don't do it, but it would be so much easier to be like, here's a $50 gift card for Market Basket, go get whatever food you want, I just think that would be a lot easier and a lot cleaner. I love that people donate food and money and all that stuff. I don't like an account that has no movement, that has $43,000 in it. And there's no, you know what I mean by no movement, right? Like, we're not using it for something.
no activity.
It's just sitting there. And I just don't like that. So it's just another thing that we probably have to clean up and figure out.
So I think I've shared with you that, I stumble across things every day, quite frankly. And we had a situation where the housing line within the welfare budget, public service budget, was going over significantly, almost double what it's been historically. And Tina came to me with a rec and said, I'd like to take it out of the welfare fund. And I didn't know what she was talking about, but it got forwarded to the treasurer, who wouldn't process it because it lacked board signature. So I guess that's a bravo for the treasurer for pushing back, otherwise we wouldn't have known about it. And I'll be happy to do the legwork, and I'll work with Tina to make sure that we can get the history, what its past uses has been, and what she proposes to use it for in the future.
Sure.
And whatever name best suits what it is.
Exactly.
What you want it
get
to
what I
be.
mean by the if you
Absolutely.
name it welfare, then it's used for the welfare of the people of the town. Like, that's how I see it. So it could be used, I could see it used as a gas for oil or a Unitil bill or something to that effect. But when it's named the food pantry account, that's all I think of.
And I'm going to speculate now that at the time that was created, that was a better alternative to gift cards, because gift cards have no restrictions.
I know.
So you know that people that have cards that they get from being on public assistance, there are restrictions. They can't buy alcohol, they can't buy cigarettes,
You're right.
and things like that. When you get a gift card, those restrictions don't exist, but
Well, then,
I don't know how you could
I
put them in
guess
place.
we could literally say only buy Aldi's gift cards, because they don't sell any of that stuff there.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, but once we check out the history, I mean, we could feasibly, like Dan was talking about, make it a Newton welfare revolving account, so that said monies can go in there, and then
Could be expended out.
if it's a welfare account, that one word would encompass being able to pay rent, pay an electric bill, house people, buy food for them, do whatever. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, I just went back till 2021, and I said it had how much in it? 43,000? It had 36,000 in 2021. So,
Wow.
I mean, there is money going into it, but
Nothing's coming out.
I'm not seeing any, I haven't seen anything
That's a
come
lot
up.
of money in a
So,
couple of years going into it.
I think receipts don't all come to the board. That's speculation on my part. Sometimes somebody drops off a check. A deposit slip is made, and it goes into that account, and really doesn't come through the board for approval.
Who's
However,
been making
as
the
it,
deposits, though? Who's been making the deposits? Tina? The treasurer?
I can find that out too.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be something.
Ultimately, the treasurer will make the deposit. Who gets it to the treasurer, I can find that out.
Well, there's an off chance that Tina's depositing it herself.
I'll find out. So that was, I guess it was a good find anyway.
Yeah,
That we
definitely.
stumbled over. Mr. Chairman, I have a late request, but it's kind of somewhat time sensitive. Pat from the rec department stopped by today, and she wanted to use the credit card to pay for catered lunches for senior holiday. The vendor is Five Daughters LLC, and she, I'm sure with the permission of the rec commission, wants to take it out of the recreation revolving fund. So this would be a situation, would be a twofold motion too. You would authorize the withdrawal of $1,923.75 from the recreation revolving fund for the purposes of paying Five Daughters LLC for the holiday lunch for seniors.
I'll make a motion to remove or withdraw $1,923.58 from the recreation revolving account to pay for Five Daughters catering.
Second?
And excuse me, I was looking at a different manifest number. I want to correct it before we go any further. The amount is $1,303.58. That last number would be the next item I'd like to discuss with you.
So amend my motion to $1,303.58.
Second?
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor? Aye. That's unanimous.
Thank you. One other item that didn't make the agenda, also just as timely. We have a request to pay Westville Grand Rental Station They provided tables and chairs for the 275th, I believe it was the dance show.
Tables, chairs, tents, dance floors.
That amount is $1,923.75. And the desire is to take that out of the town anniversary revolving fund, which has a current balance of $10,343.
So I'll make a motion to pay Westville Grand Rental Station $1,923.75, funds to come out of the town anniversary fund.
Second?
Motion made by Joe A, seconded by Joe S. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
And I have nothing more, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Before we hit manifest, we're gonna pick something that's not on here that has been bugging me for a while, but I will make the motion to authorize Robin to source a postage device for the town hall. It's a monthly fee, we have to pay it, I'll let her do it, I'll authorize up to $100 a month, I doubt it's gonna cost that much, it's probably a quarter of that, but, we're in the 2024, and putting stamps on envelopes seems a little bit, for a town,
I'll second that.
you know? So, I'm sorry.
I'll wait till discussion.
This is, oh, it's been seconded, go ahead, hit me. What do you got? You're gonna tell me we have like some stock and stamps?
How many envelopes do we have on hand?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. We just had this conversation this morning, and I asked Robin, do we have posted envelopes with windows that we're using for checks that we mail out?
Well, I had to order checks for finance because we were low, so I just got, what we ordered last year, which was 500 envelopes.
Okay,
So
that are already
those-
They're
stamped.
already stamped.
That's okay.
So when they run
There's-
low, we will already have a contract before you guys for approval to arrange for a Pitney Bowes machine. Rather
Yeah,
than, what?
So, she's not the only one mailing things. So are those like community things?
That was just for finance.
But that's my point,
But
right?
he's
So
mailing stuff.
MJ's mails stuff all the time. He mails stuff all the
Could be
time.
for any department.
Those will go
The
fast.
building department mails stuff all the time. You mail stuff, I would assume? Barely, okay, we won't use you.
Less than barely.
Which is fine, but remove the toaster in the break room and put the Pitney Bowes machine there. I'm just saying that, like, you know what, I understand that, but that is a specific thing, and I'm fine with that, but I mean, this motion's been made and seconded, and you are on your feet and running as soon as we take this vote, because we're gonna get one, and we're gonna put it in.
Is it the board's intention or desire that any department who is using postage come to the town hall and use the machine with a code specifically for them so it can be tracked?
I like that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would much rather that if the police station is doing a fair amount of mailing, that they
have
get their own.
Yeah.
Ideally.
And the same thing with the fire department.
I'm sure if I walked around this building and opened up desk drawers, I would find drawers full of stamped envelopes, unaddressed,
Exactly.
waiting to be used.
So I guess that's my point, is like, I understand what you're saying, that coding it so they have to use their code so you know where it's going and all that. And I'm fine with that 100%, and it can do that and be set up like that. But if the police station is mailing a lot of stuff, then they definitely should have one. Hands down.
Right.
I can make another motion, but I don't think I need to.
No, you don't need to, and I'll leave it up to them to be honest about the amount of
Seriously,
forces
like,
that they use.
it seems like a no-brainer, and they may already have one down there, I don't know, right?
Yeah, but I doubt it.
They don't. I don't know.
No, it's a good idea. I think it's one of those things where no one's stopped, taken a breath, and said, can we do something better than
Sure.
buying pre-posted envelopes?
I mean, I would assume she mails a lot of stuff when she's gotta send stuff too, you know?
And she spends so much time here, she might as well have an office. So it's not a big deal for her to come in and run those things through the machine. when we have it up and running.
Because she's here, right, and I get that.
Yep.
Does the fire station have one?
No.
No.
Does the fire station actually mail stuff?
Not very much.
I didn't think so. So, okay, with that being said, are we good for discussion, gentlemen?
I'm good. I'll move the question, yeah.
So let me just follow up with I'll call it an astute observation. If there's not a lot of postage going on around us, we could still ask them to come here. No harm, no
Sure.
foul. It's not like they're gonna be at the
Sure.
machine for an hour.
Exactly.
Just when you're coming by to pick up paychecks, or when you're coming by.
I gotta send this out.
Come and
Sure.
say, say hi, or having a bite to eat.
100%. But,
Well, they can't eat anymore because you took the toaster out.
that's right.
It was setting the fire alarm off anyways.
Okay, with that being said, all those in favor? Aye. That is unanimous. It only took me 2 years.
I was only, I was waiting for when it was gonna come up. I knew it was coming.
Oh, boy. Okay. All right, with that being said, now we can move into manifests, gentlemen.
I move to approve payroll manifest in the amount of $78,945.62 for a pay period of November 17th through November 30th, 2024, with a pay date of December 5th, 2024.
Second?
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor? Aye. That's unanimous.
I move to approve a vendor manifest in the amount of $60,072.35 with a pay date of November 26, 2024. Payment includes $9,699.43 to R.W. Gillespie for geotechnical services and $1,999. No. Is that?
A lot of nines.
There's an extra
Should be
9.
nine-
Just
should be
go
90
99
please, yeah,
and just
90.
let go.
So $1,999.99 payable to Bound Tree Medical for EMS equipment.
Second?
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor? Aye. That's unanimous.
I move to approve vendor manifest in the amount of $103,834.76 with a pay date of November 26, 2024. Payment includes $24,922.84 to G Mello Disposal Corp. for disposal services and $9,505.20 to Health Trust for insurance services.
Second?
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor? Aye. That's unanimous.
I move to approve and accept the public meeting minutes dated October 29, 2024, as written.
Second?
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor? Aye. That's unanimous.
I move to approve and accept the public meeting minutes dated November 7, 2024, as written.
Second?
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor? Aye. That's unanimous.
Is, quick question about the non-public dated November 7th. Did we want to open those minutes up?
We
No,
didn't-
not yet.
We
Not
didn't
yet?
do any, those are public meeting
Okay.
minutes.
Yeah.
that we didn't even talk about the non-public. Okay. What's the right, motion right now?
I move to go into non-public session pursuant to New Hampshire RSA 91-A:3, Roman 2A.
I move to go into non-public session, RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2A.
Second?
All right, roll call vote, Bob?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.